Hey everyone, welcome to the Canine Culture Podcast, where we talk about everything dog. Q&As with veterinarian professionals, rescue operators, everyday topics. We cover everything dog on this podcast. So make sure you subscribe to the Canine Culture Podcast on your favorite podcast platform, and make sure you're following us on social media on both Instagram and Facebook. Thanks again for listening. Now here's that next episode. Hey everyone, welcome to the Canine Culture Podcast. This is your host, Brittany, and we are joined by Angela Ardolino, who is a holistic pet expert. She handles plant and mushroom medicine. She's an educator, a formulator, a speaker. She does all of the things. So thank you for joining us, Angela.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I could probably sit here and, I've reviewed your bio and there's so much to it, but tell everyone a little bit about you, what you do. And I know that might take a while, but feel free to just let everyone know all the things that you do.
I'll try to do it really fast. I love animals. That's basically who I am. I love animals. I prefer their company. I love being able to take care of them. But so just know that part. 2015, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And I live a pretty natural lifestyle. I try to eat organic. I keep chemicals out of my house. No pesticides on my lawn. I don't even put flea and tick meds on my dogs, all that. So when I was diagnosed with this very scary autoimmune disease, I went to see what could I do naturally. So of course, changing my diet and looking at my diet was huge. But to find relief and how do I help myself heal from this disease, I just started to look what I could use. And I found cannabis. And I tried cannabis. I never really used cannabis ever before. I never touched it. Didn't really. My mom worked for the organization that invented the Just Say No to Drugs campaign. So I was, one of those kids. And I tried it, and not only did it get rid of all my joint pain, but my stress and anxiety levels went down. I felt normal. And that was in 2015. And I, at the time, owned a magazine that basically was for families talking about natural living, how to keep these, toxins out of your home, off your pets, out of your children's food, and, personal care products. So I was so blown away by this that I immediately started to research more. And because it was a family magazine, I found these incredible group of women called Canna Moms who were treating their children with cannabis for seizures, cancer, you name it. It was the most incredible stories I ever saw. I was like, this is inhumane that we're keeping this medicine away from people, much less our pets.
Right.
So I literally sold my business and threw myself into the industry. And I became a really big advocate. I fought really hard to make it legal here in Florida. I've traveled all over teaching people about it. And I was invited in 2016 to attend the inaugural class at the University of Vermont School of Medicine for the study of cannabis, its biology and therapeutic uses. And that's when I learned that animals had the endocannabinoid system just like us. So I made the decision to concentrate on animals. I already had a rescue farm where I take in farm animals that, are injured, hurt. People can't, everybody who got the miniature pig.
Right.
Ended up not being a miniature pig.
Yeah.
Or the people that got backyard chickens and then didn't want them anymore, things like that. And old dogs. And the older and sicker, the more I was, excited to have them, because I knew that I could implement what I learned in school and prove to veterinarians that this medicine does work.
Right.
So when I first got on the market, though, I could not find any products. So I never in a million years thought I would end up formulating products, but I couldn't find anybody. I would find a human product that someone just put a paw print on, and it had flavorings or xylitol, which will kill a dog. So I would be at conferences yelling at people going, get this off your shelf.
Yeah.
But it would be amazing. I kind of formed relationships with a couple of veterinarians who would call me and say that they had special cases and, do I want to adopt the dog and see what I can do? And I would be able to do it. I literally just learned how this medicine worked, how to give it to them, and then I watched it do what I learned. So everything from a 14-year-old Chihuahua with having grand mal seizures, no hair on her feet, tail, barely a dog, and watch her. She was on so many medications and shampoos and everything else, and took her off everything, changed her diet, put her on a full spectrum hemp extract, added some adaptogens and medicinal mushrooms to her diet. And I watched this dog. Not only was I able to stop her grand mals, she was 6 pounds, and it took 100 milligrams of a pure full spectrum hemp extract to stop, to keep her seizures from not coming. So that's what I want people to understand, is that you always have to, when you're using natural medicine, you always have to find that dose. Right. Every animal, every human is an individual. Our deficiencies in our endocannabinoid system are different. So what might work on a 6-pound dog, you might do something different for another one. Yeah. Not only was I able to stop her seizures, all her hair grew back, but the most beautiful thing that happened is that her dementia went away. She went from never making eye contact or just kind of getting lost. She would literally stand in a corner and bark, to I'd pick her up and she started making eye contact and giving me kisses. And I was like, oh my God.
That's amazing.
It was really amazing. I didn't even know I was seeing dementia, and that became my monster, because I've been able to put cancer into remission 4 times, Cushing's disease, you name it, but dementia would get them. And I didn't know how dementia worked, and I didn't understand it. So that's where medicinal mushrooms really come in, because mushrooms like reishi and lion's mane and cordyceps, they actually regenerate your neurons and regrow your telomeres in your brain. So nothing else does that. And they have surgery, they have research now that says that after a 2-week period, if you stop taking these mushroom extracts, that your brain will go back to the way it was. So it's something that you're constantly taking. And I find that so interesting. I think it's amazing that we have a system in our body that is made to interact with these plants and mushrooms and adaptogens, which I don't know if you know what adaptogens are. They're just medicinal plants.
Yeah.
Mushrooms and sometimes dirt.
Yeah. There's so much to unpack from just everything that you said. And just kind of thinking about the fact that you said it's inhumane to keep this away from people, from animals. I can think of a scenario. I had a family member with cancer, stage 4, breast cancer, brain cancer, bone cancer. And I suggested medical marijuana. And the doctor said, if you even try it, we'll drug test you. And if you try it, you don't get any more of your medication. And I just thought that was so absurd, because we know the science supports how it can help not only put cancer in remission, it'll improve your mood, it'll help you sleep, it'll reduce inflammation, you name it. And they said,
it stimulate your appetite.
Yeah.
Be okay with the fact that you have this terrible disease. I mean, everybody, should be on it. And what's interesting is that as someone like me, I learned about this one amazing plan and this one amazing system. And if someone like me could put cancer in remission just using diet, meaning I learned how to starve the cancer and not feed it, and then what plants, mushroom adaptogens have anti-cancer, anti-tumor properties, if I can do that, anybody can do that. And when I did that, I was like, all right, I need to be able to explain what the hell I just did.
Yeah.
I didn't understand. I learned what I was doing. This does this, but I need to learn why. And now I know why, and I can explain it. Cancer has 12 signaling pathways. Cannabis has already been proven to interact with 8 of those pathways. And it does more than one action in each of those pathways. So what it means is there's a pathway that is responsible for the proliferation of the cancer. And cannabinoids stop it. Whether they have to downgrade something or block something or enhance something else, it does all of that in an action to prevent that from happening. It prevents it from metastasizing.
Right.
It prevents it. It kills the cancer cells. It actually, CBD turns our cells into something called natural killer cells, which is very natural in our body, to go out and find any rogue cells and kill them. THC, when a tumor rogue cell gets with another rogue cell and then they become a tumor, they shoot out a blood supply to one of your veins. THC literally comes along and chops off that blood supply. So it's literally interacting with 8 of those pathways. You add medicinal fungi, other adaptogens like ashwagandha, astragalus root, bacopa monnieri, all of these, and you are green tea, turmeric, all these amazing plants we know about, you are literally interacting with all 12 of those pathways. Another one of the pathways, autophagy. I don't know if I say that right, but it is like after it kills those rogue awful cells, it cleans the body and gets them out, gets the dead cells out. So it's literally, cancer doesn't have a chance, especially if you're getting at it early and you're also supporting the body with a ketogenic diet, meaning you're doing nothing to feed that cancer. It really, and that's how I was able to do it. And now I understand what I did. Most pharmaceutical drugs, they target one pathway.
Right.
Only one. And a lot of times it's one mechanism in that pathway, meaning is it going to downgrade or block something? So same thing with pain. There's some controversy. 4 or 5 pathways of pain.
Right.
I learned 5. Others say 4. But regardless, same thing with pain meds. And this is what I kept finding with old dogs. The pain medication, that pharmaceutical is only dealing with one of those pathways. So your dog's in pain. They give it a drug. You come back. My dog's still in pain. They give you another one that deals with the second, and a third and a fourth and a fifth. And now you have 5 drugs that you have no idea what they do together inside your dog's body. And a lot of the times it's not good. It's synthetic. So that means your dog's liver and kidneys have to process it, work on this, do something with it, get it out, when you literally can get the same effect from a plant. We have receptors. Those receptors and these plant compounds fit perfectly like lock and key. That doesn't happen with a synthetic drug.
Yeah. So you mentioned the ketogenic diet. So the whole reason I started this podcast was to be an informational resource for dog owners. And we had a Pomeranian in 2016 get diagnosed with cancer. And the vet that I was going to at the time said, we can do nothing. Good luck. Started seeing an oncologist and it was chemo and radiation. And I'm like, okay. And it wasn't really working. And so I started researching, started on a ketogenic diet. Now, I was a little too late. I couldn't really get her into ketosis, but I started to learn more about the ketogenic diet. At that time, I also started learning about CBD. And everyone's like, it's trash. It doesn't work. We extended her life a good 7-8 months, but that really led me down a journey of researching CBD, researching cannabis, because I have Crohn's and lupus.
Oh, and honey, we can take care of that. Have you gotten rid of it yet?
I have been in remission for some times, but I do have flare-ups because...
That's okay. It's a hard world we live in. You're going to have flare-ups.
Yes, and I'm moving toward this non-toxic life slowly, cut out this body wash, cut out this detergent. So
I can tell I'm older than you, so let me be your mentor. Do you know about EWG.org?
I do not.
Yes. That's going to be your number one thing. That's going to be your lifesaver. It's the environmental working group. And they literally have a cosmetic database. They now have a cleaning database. So you literally can take any product of yours, look at it, type in the brand, the ingredient, and it will tell you what awful ingredients are in there. And that is going to change your life. Because that's what happened to me. You change your diet and you're like, why am I still having so many flare-ups? Oh, all these freaking chemicals I'm being exposed to.
Yeah.
Like dog shampoo. I bought a groom shop. And went into, I don't know anything about grooming. So I went in, started as a bather so I could, ground up. I'd come home and the skin on my arms was coming off from the shampoo that was being put and used on the dogs. I'm like, get this shit out of here. I don't even know what the ingredients are.
Yeah.
And then I find that there's literally 2 companies making non-toxic shampoos.
Wow.
And grooming things. So what do you think? Same thing happens to us.
Yeah.
All the stuff we're using, it all has an effect. So you're going to get better and better at keeping those nasty chemicals out of your life, and you'll have less and less flare-ups.
Yeah. Well, and even so our dogs, fast forward to the dogs we have now, we have 3 Pomeranians. One of them, she's 14.
I love Pomeranians so much.
They're ornery. Our little 14-year-old, we adopted her when she was 11, and she did start arthritis, a bad back. She started showing signs of dementia. And I've always had them on CBD, and there's differences certainly in the efficacy, how
it's manufactured,
all of that.
How it's harvested,
So I've been learning more about that, been very fortunate through the podcast to meet people like yourself. And then I also learned more about medicinal mushrooms, because prior to last year, I didn't even know dogs could take those. And I did notice when we had her on Lion's Mane, she was not having, we call them dementia walks. She'd get up at night and roam around aimlessly, have no idea where she was, wouldn't know us. And they stopped. And so we ran out of Lion's Mane. And when I went to order it, was on back order. I was like, well, she'll be fine without it. It kind of restarted again.
I told you, they already proved it on that research. I know. It's crazy. Well, I would love to send you mine, because mine, I made clarity and I added. So there's also a piece of research that shows when you put multiple adaptogens and mushrooms together, they become more powerful and synergistic. So I would never just do one mushroom or one adaptogen. I would, first of all, I like to say cannabis is the queen of all adaptogens. So I like combining anything with cannabis. So even if you have a dog with extreme pain, instead of giving them more cannabis or more THC, you could add another adaptogen, which will make it more powerful and synergistic. So mine, for instance, is the Clarity, which I created for my old dogs, which is lion's mane, reishi, and cordyceps with bacopa monnieri and astragalus root. So you've got a powerhouse of adaptogens and fungi that are all for the brain and do incredible things for the brain. So I would love for you to try it. Yeah, absolutely. Because I, until today, didn't really think about those other adaptogens. You mentioned ashwagandha, and we know now, or we're slowly learning as a society, that it's great for people. It's great for anxiety and stress. And so to hear you say, oh, it's also good for dogs. I mean, it's like another light bulb moment, you know? I feel like we've been brainwashed that they're completely different. They can't eat the food. They don't suffer from this. No, that's all bull. I'm finding they suffer from all the same things, including bad food, bad products, So the problem with dogs is that they're down on the ground. They're down there sniffing the pesticides and the floor cleaner and all of those things. So they're so much more susceptible to things. Right. And I also don't think people realize that a 14-year-old dog is like a little 80-year-old lady. Right. You're going to have, being older, I'm like, oh my gosh, are they feeling this? Kind of thing. So when I see young people, when they have a really old dog, I'm like, yeah, she's got arthritis. Every senior citizen, animal or human, should be on a full spectrum hemp extract. It is absolutely going to help keep inflammation down, get rid of those aches and pains, help with any anxiety or stressors in your life. It's going to protect your brain. It's a neuroprotectant. It's an incredible antioxidant. And then mushrooms, I mean, when we look at our food supply and how they're so depleted of vitamins and nutrients and minerals, mushrooms are like, I feel like I have a t-shirt that literally says mushrooms and cannabis will save the world, because I believe they will. We could live off of them. Cannabis being the ultimate medicine and mushrooms being a functional food. Some of my favorite things about mushrooms are how they feed our gut microbiome, which I don't know if you know this. It's called the endocannabinoid system. Right. They've changed the name now to incorporate the gut microbiome. So it's now called the endocannabinoid because it is a part of the endocannabinoid system. So this, which I love that this is happening, because, it's going from I've never heard about it and doctors aren't taught about it to it's now being proven to be the master system in charge of all of the other systems. And imagine that our doctors and our veterinarians are taught nothing about it. Right. Yeah. So just to talk a little bit more about being holistic or living a holistic life or taking your pet to a holistic vet. I think when a lot of people hear holistic, they think that's woo-woo, that's not backed by anything, like that's just ridiculous hippies.
what or how would you define holistic, or like what does it mean to you?
That's an awesome question. And I think that the best way that I can explain it is that every pharmaceutical drug that's in existence is based on something found in nature. So go to nature first, because you find an herb that does amazing things. They can't take that herb, patent it, and make billions of dollars off of it. So they take one compound or part out of that plant and make it their own and change it. And they don't have to prove that it doesn't cause any damage. They just have to prove that it does what they say it does.
Right.
And in animals, they don't even have to do that. There's something in that FDA has no time for our animals, and they do not care about it. They don't care about us. So why are they going to care about our animals that they consider property? But there are thousands of drugs that the FDA hasn't even looked at or paid attention to that they call not approved, but legally can be legally marketed. What the hell is that? So we as consumers think if there's something online or on the store or a doctor's going to prescribe it or we're going to get it from our pharmacist, that it's not going to kill us. It's not going to be terrible for us, is it? Nope, that's not it. So we have to be our own best advocates, take our own health into our own hands, and do the same for our pets and our children, because nobody else is looking out for them. We have to read the ingredients. We have to find the small companies that are still believe in doing things right. Being completely transparent. We do 4 COAs on all of our products. You have a QR code. We follow the hemp industry's guidelines with QR code that takes you directly to this batch certificate of analysis showing you that there are no pesticides or herbicides in that. There are no solvents or anything that's dangerous. It's only pure full spectrum extract with other adaptogens in it to make it powerful.
And if people want to find your products, do you have a website? And then also, can they find you on social media?
Yes. I have my own website, angelaardolino.com. So that's where I have a lot of my cases and protocols. And every dog's an individual. So I only offer my protocols as this is what I did if you want to try some version of it.
Right.
Like my Nina, my Doberman with osteosarcoma, I gave her 10 milligrams of THC every night.
Oh, wow.
So I know a lot of people would be like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So anybody who says THC is toxic to a dog, that is not true. And not only is it not true, it kept my dog pain-free and alive for 2 years after her osteosarcoma diagnosis. And I didn't do anything conventional. I knew I had choices, and I went and did the holistic route. And when I compared that to what research shows that if you were to do chemotherapy, amputation, radiation, I think the highest was like 370 days.
Yeah.
I got 850 days with my Nina, and I didn't have to put her through chemotherapy or radiation. So it's like I believed what these plants could do, and I got that. Kind of like how you did the same thing. Imagine what you're going to be able to do next time.
Right.
Now that you know better. And my products are cbddoghealth.com, and MycoDog you can get that also on CBD Dog Health.
And are you on social media?
I am. I think it's all Angela Ardolino and CBD Dog Health, I think, is how you can find everything.
And then you're also a podcaster. So what's the name of your podcast?
It's called Your Natural Dog. So I constantly have experts in the field, and holistic veterinarians are kind of my gig. They're my favorite because I just interviewed one yesterday, is still in practice for 45 years. This woman can tell you some things. You know, she can tell you what worked back then, what doesn't work now, how she's watched pharmaceuticals come and go, what they do, what they don't do. And we talked about fecal transplants for dogs. Like they're really everything that can benefit us humans is now being done for our dogs. And it just, if you don't agree, if it doesn't feel right in your gut, you have choices, even though your veterinarian may not tell you what they are. You just have to go find them on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for educating us this evening. Everyone that's listening, please make sure you go and follow Angela check out her podcast, check out her products, give her a follow on social media. But thank you again. Really appreciate it.
You bet. It was so nice meeting you, Brittany.
Thank you for tuning in to the Canine Culture Podcast. Please make sure you subscribe to the Canine Culture Podcast on your favorite podcast platform, and make sure you're following us on social media. If you have any recommendations, any topics that you'd like to hear, if you know of any guests that would be good for the show, or if you yourself want to be a guest, please reach out to us. Send us an email at canineculturepodcast@gmail.com, or send us a direct message on social media. Thank you for listening, and please share this with any of your dog-loving friends.